And wow, won't you be surprised on this episode? We got an opportunity to speak with our own Reverend Senior Minister, Dr. Derrick B. Wells, and his wife, First Lady Sylvia.
Man, that was a wonderful connection. It was nice for them to be able to express themselves. It's a wonderful episode, guys. You're going to get a lot from this just to see what it takes to have a strong marriage and still lead an organization.
So we're talking about ministry and marriage, so stay tuned.
Welcome to Loving Beyond the I Do podcast. This power couple is building stronger marriages one day at a time. Talking about real issues on love, relationships, and marriage longevity. Let's break down the barriers and engage in healthy conversation with your hosts, Jason and Tina Marie. Take a seat and buckle up because things are about to get real.
Hey, welcome to the show.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Loving Beyond the I Do.
With your hosts, Jason and Tina Marie.
All right, who do we have with us today on the show, Jason?
Today we have a very special guest. I know that our guests are always special, but today we really have a special guest because we have our minister and First Lady on to talk about marriage and ministry.
All right, so let's bring them in.
Reverend Wells and First Lady Sylvia Wells, how are you?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being our guest.
Yes.
So let's tell the audience a little bit about yourselves.
Okay, so we have been married for how long?
29 years.
For 29 years.
Let him answer first, right?
That's right.
You see, I knew where to go in order to make sure that we got the right answer.
Right.
I saw that. I saw that.
But
I like that.
But I was thinking...
Jay, I got crazy skills with it.
I see how you dished that off.
All right.
I like that.
Yeah. So we've been married for 25 years, 29 years.
29 years.
We have 2 children. Our daughter is how old?
29 in March. This next month.
And our son is how old?
Are you asking me the question?
Yes.
What? 24 in August.
And our granddaughter, first grandchild, is 6 months old.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
She looks just like me, my twin.
She is her twin, but she actually favors me the most.
Okay. All right.
Who spoils the grandbaby the most?
She does.
All right. So there we go. So it's unanimous, right? They both do. All right. So how long have you been ministering as the senior pastor of, and tell us the church and how long you've been doing it?
So I give leadership to Christ Universal Temple. Been serving in the role of pastorate for, it will be 11 years this April. And it's been a really, really remarkable journey. But one of the things that happened really early on, and I don't want to get ahead of where you're going to be, is just kind of the stress and tension that being new in that role put on what really has always been a very healthy, responsive, fruitful relationship between us.
Yep.
But like that, within that first 6-8 months, like it really pulled at the tensile strength of our relationship.
Yes, it is.
So I would think you were already a minister, correct?
Yes. So I had been an ordained minister for I want to say about a handful of years before ever entering the pastorate.
Should we ask Sylvia for how many years? Should we ask First Lady?
I had a handful. So if you round up, let's say 80%, if you round up,
Yeah.
it would be 5 would be right. About a handful would be right.
About 5 years.
Okay. And what you didn't know, because we don't know what we don't know. We've never actually done something, correct? Mm-hmm. Right. So you didn't know what to anticipate prior to moving into that senior minister role. Would that be First Lady Sylvia? So did you kind of think that it would be that first 8 months would be like it was?
I would say that God gave us some insight before.
Well, on the road, but not on the way it would impact our relationship.
Yeah. But I would say to me, because we both have a different way of looking at it. It was by our relationship being so strong that it's something that could have shook someone to the core, actually just made us stick together closer and just really have each other front, back, side, and everything.
Wonderful.
So, that was it. It was. We both know how to do everything. So when he needed to do some things, it was okay because him being in the Navy for 4 years, we had a long distance relationship. So I was okay with running things. I'm really, because sometimes, we have some relationship, that person has to keep clocking in with that person.
Right.
We both knew how to switch roles if we needed
to balance it.
Right.
Okay, so since we're talking about he was in the military for 4 years, so give us a little
hold on before we go to that.
Okay,
how did we meet? Let's go back to that now. Who came with the game?
Well, that's why I was heading. Well, that's why I was heading. I was heading. Tell us a little bit about the whole backstory.
Yeah.
So we went to high school together.
Yeah.
We were in the same English class.
Yeah.
In our sophomore or junior year.
No, it was our senior year.
In our senior year, we were in the same English class in our senior year, and we sat in the same row. Was it the same row?
Yeah.
So she sat in the front seat in the row. I sat in the last seat in the row.
That says a lot. Okay.
If you think that's something, wait till you get this next part. so
we'll never tell it the way you don't tell it.
Right, because it's two sides with three sides. Right, go ahead.
Yeah.
The desk next to me, in the row next to me, was always empty. So I would pull that desk over so I could collapse over into it and catch a quick cat nap before class started.
So he was not coming in, but yeah.
Right. Now, after class started, someone who sat in my row would always walk into class late. Well, maybe not always, but frequently.
Okay.
We walk into class
95% of the time.
Back in the day, I had to walk to school. My mom wasn't good enough to take us to school, so I had to walk to school. He took the bus, and I had to walk to school, so it took me a little longer.
Right.
But if you can walk to school, that must mean you're a block or two away.
I had to get all this black together, so.
But if you can walk to school, you're a block or two away.
Okay. All right.
It was about a block and a half.
Okay.
But those are Chicago blocks. Those are long blocks.
Yeah, well, I guess a city block is equal to like a block and a quarter of some other block.
Right.
So when I would wake up, I would have my man tap the person who was in front of him and have her tap Sylvia, and I would just wave at her like, "Hey, what's up?"
I was so hot because I was already hot trying to get to school. So what he did every morning, wave at me. I roll my ass every morning.
And so that's just really kind of how we managed around one another. But what really was the spark was her best girlfriend and my homie were a couple.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the summer after we graduated, we wound up spending like that summer together because our
your friends, right?
Yeah, right. And so we would be with our friends, and so we just wound up.
And then he thought I was super cute, so he just had to have me all summer long.
I heard that. All right.
So wait. So we don't want to say he thought you were super cute. He still thinks you're super cute,
he knew
right?
That.
Right.
Yeah.
The Lord is my shepherd. He know what I want.
All right. So did we get together and it was happily ever after that? Or how long did it take us to get together? And then what were some of the challenges? Because you said he was in the military for 4 years. So kind of lead us up into that fast forward part.
Well, we graduated in 88, and with that summer of 89, we hung out a lot. And
some 89, I get.
88.
We graduated?
No, 89. 89 we hung out. Yeah, 89.
Oh, yeah.
89.
Summer
After, yeah. So he didn't quite know what he wanted. It takes, thing that we mature quicker than it.
True that.
So, what was that, maybe 90 you went to the Navy?
I went to the Navy in 90.
Right. So we was hanging out the whole summer long. So I asked him.
Well, no. So we hung out that summer, and we wound up like kind of really kicking it that year up till I left.
Right.
So from summer of '88 up through.
In '88, did I hang out with you?
Yeah.
No, not really.
Because then it just would have been from the summer until.
Okay, you guys know.
I can't wait till I get to the juicy question.
So
go ahead.
we should ask them to get these dates together. All right, so you guys hung up. So you just hung out. You weren't really dating.
Well, so what?
Whoa, wait! I don't.
And as she said, she matured faster than me. I was like, so like I was just,
hanging out. You were just spending time together.
Right.
So when he got ready to leave for the service, I asked him straightforward, look, do you want me to wait on you or not? You remember that?
Yeah, what did I say?
He didn't say anything. You remember that?
No.
I lived on 80 around Parnell in the building.
She lived in the Stone Terrace. Go ahead and say it.
Now whatever. Where I lived in the Stone Terrace. And we lived on the second floor. Standing there outside my mom and my dad's apartment. And I asked him, he ran downstairs. I quite didn't know what that meant, but
wow.
Sorry, you never answered the question. And let me go back, because when you first started hanging out, he tells me, I'm gonna make you love me and fall in love with me. But then when I ask you the question, you run downstairs.
So what was the point of falling in love?
One of us had to give a prophecy. Like one of us knew what was gonna happen.
Me? Yeah.
I knew she was gonna fall in love.
But what was the point if you were gonna run from it?
Well, I mean, at least I wanted to know it was there, even if I wasn't ready for it.
Right.
Nope, I don't get that. I want you to love me.
I do.
I love you. Oh my God. No, wait.
But when it actually hits you in the face, it's like, oh my God, I think this is happening.
Wait. What'd you say? What'd you say, First Lady? I'm sorry. What'd you say?
Young men just say what they say to get the deal done. But he actually ended up loving this real deal. So that's my story.
So I was on the train in Hong Kong and just doing some reflection and like what? So
wait. I don't mean to cut you off, but you ran down the stairs.
Yeah.
And then so you left without even saying goodbye or anything? Like you didn't talk to him again before he left?
Say goodbye. It
was the question that spoke to him. We had talked him.
Oh yeah, they got talked.
Okay. So he never actually answered it. He never said anything about I'm leaving or nothing. I didn't answer
it in that moment, but I did sort of answer it with my actions afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Right.
Okay, so I mean, make that clear. We don't want to say you just ran down the stairs and then you were in Hong Kong. Right. So you kind of thought about it. You went home. You called her. You guys talked, and then
No, like while I was in the Navy, we were still communicating the whole time. Like we were.
Okay, good.
We were invited.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Just not like.
If I still look confused, I'm confused.
Yeah, that's because what we're avoiding saying is that we were together, but not exclusive.
I got you. Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Right. So let me tell you how I got there.
Right.
So I'm on a train in Hong Kong.
He's in the Navy now, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
And just kind of like thinking through what I want. Like, what am I looking for in a woman? What am I looking for in a wife? What am I looking for?
Your future, the kind of the hope.
Right. Like what do I want? And as I'm just kind of walking through this process mentally, I'm checking off what it is, and she's got all of it. Right. And once it hit me like a thunderbolt that I have what I'm looking for, like I jumped off the train at the very next stop and picked up the phone like, hey, I love you.
Okay.
Like, I thought you already in love.
Yes.
Right.
Once I was clear, I needed to make sure I locked it down after that point.
I got you. Now we're exclusive.
So do you think that moment that you was checking off that list and asking yourself, what do I really want? Do you think it was more out of, I'm leaving, I'm going to be alone? Like sometimes when we are away from, when we're away from everything, right? When we are away from having the security of her being there, having, not being exclusive, having everything around us to someplace that's new and foreign, it makes us kind of reflect back on, well, wait a minute, I'll be out here by myself. Like, is she really what I want? Do I want to give this up? Was it that moment of realizing that it was only you on that train?
No, it was really just being reflective and like mapping out what it is I want to experience in my life.
Okay.
And we would do that together sometimes. I would do it, and then I would share with her what I saw. And as when I almost converted to Islam, and like I've already built out what this life is going to be like now that we are Muslim. And I'm like, we're going to take Christmas away from our children. She's like, you can change your name, I'll change my name, but you are not taking Christmas away from our children. I had it, you had it, they're going to have it, right? And so what I was seeing, once I shared it, I had to back up from it. So what I was really doing on that train was really just kind of mapping my life out. And once I started to consider this really important piece of like who my partner in life was going to be, and what I want that person to be like it's already here. So let me stop playing. Let me get real serious about this and take advantage and not miss the blessing that's already in my lap.
And you know what? That's one of our strong suits. Was always communication. From the beginning, we always was good communication when we came to each other. Even with his marriage proposal, it wasn't like get on your knee and it's always teasing about like, oh, I didn't get the big thing. But we discussed and we talked about what that will look like and why. Because the first thing is love, but what else with the proposal? What else comes with marriage? Because you have the wedding. That's the fun part. What me?
Right.
The marriage is more exciting and fulfilling than the wedding was for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what people, I think sometimes couples don't discuss. Let's discuss it other than let's see the balloon or the weight or on social media. And we discussed that. We talked about that. Some things he didn't because he had another element to it of asking my dad for my hand. So
that's old school.
Yeah, he did that. You can. Yeah, but
I won't tell you what a father told me, but
but I was saying, when you were talking about communication, do you think it was because you hung out that summer, like you actually had an opportunity to establish a friendship prior to a courtship?
I would say that, yeah. We were friends first. We tried to be
sexual
first. Really, we end up being friends first. We end up talking about our upbringing. We end up talking about God. I mean, we at 19. We're talking. This is our conversation.
Okay.
While we're this, you know how you usually set the mood by listening to Luther Vandross.
Yep.
We got no Luther on. We're having
conversations.
Full conversation about, again, where we are, what we want. We're not necessarily knowing whether we're exploring that together, but we're just having vulnerable moments with one another. And I really don't know that I have been that open and transparent with anybody up to that point. And then we spent most of that night talking.
That's what we're talking.
What? Okay.
Okay. So I want to move forward.
Okay.
Too.
Right. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So tell me about the conversation. Now you've been an ordained minister. You've preached and you're in the church. Now you're about to apply for a senior minister at an iconic church, right? What is that conversation? How do you come to the first lady and say, "Hey, babe, I'm thinking about applying for this"?
Or the progression up to it, because I don't think it's just a one-day conversation, right?
I know it's not.
So what is the whole process, right?
Yeah.
So in our relationship, we're really fortunate in that we're both very spiritual and very intuitive. So oftentimes we'll both see the same thing or receive the same thing separately.
Yeah.
And so we both got the insight about what was to be well before it was. Mine happened in the form of a dream, and hers happened through her form of giftedness. And so by the time we got to the possibility of the conversation, it was really a smooth conversation.
Well, when I first heard it, like God don't put any surprises on us.
Okay.
We were sitting outside our first home, on the balcony, because we spent a lot of time together. I enjoyed it that.
And I can tell, not just in private, in public as well. I know.
and we're talking, and I hear this voice is like, this is clear that he's going to be the pastor, he's going to be the senior minister. And in my mind, I'm fighting against. I'm like, Lord, I'm not ready. Are you sure you want me to say this out my mouth right now? Or, I'm fighting with this thing. Because I'm liking, like right here, we sitting out here talking and telling, and we doing what we want to do. And we're private people. So yeah, that's we opening up like that. Okay, I'm like, should I tell you? I fought with that, and I'm like, this is what I'm hearing. I'm not ready for it, but this is what God is saying. So he said, oh, I saw it already too. So we wasn't surprised. We didn't know when.
Okay.
We wasn't surprised that this is what his birthright.
Right, and by that time, like I had already been through some of the foundational training at JCI. I'd already been through teacher training. I don't know if I had been through ministerial training yet.
Yeah, I think you were.
Okay, so there was already some preparation for the possibility, right?
So what were your thoughts about it? So moving into that, transitioning from just being a minister into the senior ministry, what were the conversations and the ideas around it about how you would kind of interact, how you would approach it, how you would handle it, right? Because so you're getting the insight, but you have to have the conversations as how is this going to impact our marriage? Like, if this is what I'm supposed to do.
Right. How are we going to shift the marriage and our relationship? Because you want this what we have sitting on the balcony, spending our time together, because that's going to change.
Well,
Well,
when it comes to us, we adjust, but we don't shift a whole lot. Because this matters, because when everything is over, when kids are grown, kids out the house, grandkids, when ministry is over, it's me and you. So we give the ministry some time, but we still give a lot of valuable time to each other. And I know, as any wife, when you're working, you're working. So I know when to fall back. I know when to come in and say, hey, let's take some time. And if something's bothering me, I'll let him know if something bothers me. And we adjust for each other. But as far as the world and the people, not a whole lot of it. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
So what were some of the...
I think that's the ideal. I don't think that's how it actually works. So I think where the boundaries that we set were I think there were two primary boundaries.
Okay.
I think we tried to put a boundary around our relationship and tried to put a boundary around our children.
Good.
Right? Because our children, by the time I came into the pastorate, my daughter was a teenager, and my son, like he's got 10 years of normal that I didn't want my decision and our decision to disrupt what was his normal. Same for my daughter. Like I didn't want our decision to disrupt their normal. So you still get to be a kid. You don't have to worry about being a preacher's kid. None of that stuff. Go ahead and do you. For us, so I don't think our children were as impacted as we were.
No.
Okay.
For us, in that, like I said, in that first handful of months, just trying to figure out who we were in this role, both individually and within the context of our marriage. Like, how do we deal with these expectations? Some that are communicated, some that aren't. You're supposed to dress different, supposed to look different,
yes,
supposed to act different.
That part of it for me was the church as far as the marriage. Because I apologize for interrupting you, but I had to figure out who I was in the fish tank.
Sure.
And I definitely kind of hid some of myself when I first came because I'm getting to know the land and all that good stuff. And I can remember one Sunday having on a full suit, a full mother of the church suit. And I walked past and I said, who?
You walked past a mirror?
A mirror, right? I walked past the mirror. I said, who are you? And I had to look. I said, I decided that day, it's more them than it is me. So other people can be uncomfortable or I can be uncomfortable.
Right.
Or be uncomfortable. So then you start seeing more of my personality then because I am who I am at church and at home most of the time.
So you were
my real, and I feel so good being in my skin,
right,
of knowing who I am because it was really intimidating being in that because I heard you supposed to do this and this and that, and you think about it, Johnny was the founder, so her role was way different than mine.
right.
But in the first lady, this is the first time you having a first lady, and they had to figure out what should they do with me.
Right.
And so I had to figure out what am I supposed to be doing. And so we're in the ministry that it wasn't just his journey, that I had ministry of my own.
Right.
I had to get busy figuring out me too, because I figured he had figured himself out. Yes, he did. So I had to figure out what I needed to be in the ministry and who I needed to be. And I decided just to be me, and it's been working.
And I think that says a good role even when we talk about marriage, right? Because you have to find out even in marriage, just that, who you are in that marriage, right? Because we come into it with certain expectations of what is a wife, right? So we, even in that role, we kind of lose ourselves, and then we have to find out, well, who am I as an individual? But even with what you're saying, not letting society's norms dictate who am I going to be in this role. So instead of I'm going to define the role according to who I am, as opposed to what society says I should be.
Right.
And so how did you feel about that, Reverend Wells?
For starters, we teach freedom. As a fundamental element of the ministry, we teach freedom.
Okay, let me explain. When I say how did you feel about that, I mean in terms of her coming to you and saying like I don't feel comfortable doing this. In terms of her being able to express to you like this is what I'm going to do. So kind of like
I want to be myself. I want to be me,
and not really saying like in a sense of not being free, but just being able to say, well, I understand that. Well, go ahead.
But if you're not being yourself, you aren't being free.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You are your most authentic when you are
authentic.
You are, and you can't effectively or successfully ever be anybody else.
Absolutely.
And so I was happy that she was deciding that this box does not fit me.
Exactly. Okay.
Let me grow into what is authentic for me in this role, right? And like I wasn't surprised from it because I did the same thing, right? I contorted myself into expectations and in any environment. It's not just in ministry,
right? Exactly.
Environment, corporate environment, team environment. Like there are certain expectations. In order to be able to matriculate in that space, in that environment, you conform to some degree, right? Until you reach a point where you lose so much of yourself.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And then either you go about the business of reclaiming that, or you stay lost. And for both of us, I think we maybe at different times, but for both of us, we made a commitment to ourselves to go ahead and live authentically and let everything else fall where it will.
Okay.
And sometimes it wasn't really. Sometimes it was. Most of the time it's coming to him. But I had strong women around me from the beginning. So
okay.
That really helped shape who I am too.
Okay.
My mom and I had some other women that I had an outlet that I talked to because who do you talk to? You have to have some people to talk to other than just your spouse.
Right.
So I don't have a whole lot of people around me, but I have some strong individual around me that's, hey, this
instrumental.
not gonna be like, okay, you tripping or you're not tripping. So yeah, so you need some people to help balance you sometimes, not just saying yes, you the first lady, you right, yeah. I have people around you.
Yeah, and that's never good. You know, having yes people around you and just agreeing with everything you're saying and not really acknowledging how you really feel and what you're going through. And a lot of times they can't really understand what you're going through. They're saying that, hey, listen,
right.
You had at a church. You know what? You privileged at this point. You're not going through anything, but we all going through something. And
my safety person is heavy. Ella is heavy, so sometimes we wasn't having certain things because I had her around. And I really love and appreciate her. But yeah, I have some strong people, women around me. That makes a difference too.
Absolutely. So tell us, being young, going into this role as senior minister, some of the challenges, like if someone else is in this same position right now, what is a challenge that you can share and some advice that you could give them from both perspectives?
Yeah. So I would, as it relates to the relationship.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would say make your marriage a priority.
Okay.
So even before I started, Reverend Kevin Ross in Unity of Sacramento, who was also born and raised in the CUT ministry, he was one of the people, because like he's a year or two ahead of me in the pastorate at his church, where he is now, I believe. But he had also led a church in Missouri before.
Okay.
He was one of the people that I could turn to say, bro, like what's this role? And one of the things that he said to me before I even started, he said, Brother Rev, like one of the ways we have to measure success is by the health of our family.
Mm.
Like how healthy
exactly
are you and your wife? How healthy are your children? Like it's not just the metrics from inside the ministry. Like how healthy are you all? And before he said that, I had never even given any thought to the health of my immediate relationships as a measure for success in the ministry. So one of the things I would recommend is to prioritize your relationships and to make sure that one of your measures for success in ministry is the health of your family.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with me, I didn't have the luxury of that because with New Thoughts, we didn't have a lot of first ladies in the church. Right. So with me, I found myself, like what Reverend said, makes this family priority. But I have some first ladies that I'm speaking with now about how we're moving, because I would tell the first thing I would tell first lady is no position that you're fighting for. Because sometimes as women, we feel like we need to fight and prove ourselves. And like the marriage is priority, so we know what we're talking about and what we're doing behind closed doors and in front of people. So it's no need to fight for position, because I know who I am.
Right.
And that's the big thing. You have to know who you are besides just the first lady or his wife. Mm-hmm. So I would tell people just to make sure that you prioritize your marriage and make sure you know who you are, and it's no fight for position. Know who you are in this relationship.
Wonderful.
Wow,
you have any questions?
I have one thing. I remember this, and I'm going back into one of the services in church, and we were in a healing service. And Rev, you were doing your thing. You were blessing the people, and it was something about what was going on. And First Lady got up and got behind you, and she was rubbing you. I don't know what it was, but I said, wow, it must be something. She picked up on something, and she knew that you needed some support at that moment. And she got up out of her seat and walked over you and was rubbing you as you were continually healed and blessed the people. So it's the little things like this. See, I pay attention to all that little bitty stuff, right?
Like women's service takes so much out of you. It takes so much out of you that, like you say, it's the connection with you all. I'm sure you know.
Yes.
You know that connection, and you know you need a little bit more energy, a little bit more push. And I listen to God. So when you see me doing things, it's not just because I'm his wife and I'm running. It's because I'm listening to God. So if God tells me to get up and give him some energy and some support, I'm doing that. And at the beginning, when we first started, it was thick sometimes, you know, and some of you know, it was thick sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I will sit there and I will close my eyes and I will pray and give him and just send him energy because it was because of God.
Mm-hmm.
He have a calling and I also have a calling.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So he got to do what God told him to do, and I got to do what God told me to do. So
Okay.
I've been obedient to the Spirit, and I got up and you seen me as brother him. I would have had to carry that back home.
I got you.
So when
Yeah.
it's all said and done, when they're pulling and energy is being pulled from him, I have to take care of that.
Got you.
I have made it. I had a young lady come up and say we should do a healing service every week. I said, oh, absolutely not. We were not killing my husband because it takes a lot. You know, they only know what they know. So
I was getting ready to say,
that.
right. They don't understand everything that it entails.
Right. You only see Sunday service, but you don't see the other things that go into it.
Right.
So you pour a lot in, but it's a lot taken from you too.
Right.
Right.
Sometimes you have to recover. Not sometimes you have to recover from that.
Right.
So now we can learn how to recover and to make sure that we do proactive of being healthy. And if that's spiritually, mentally, we want to make sure we do that. So we take that time and I listen to God. So when you saw me doing that, I'm listening to God because it was like, oh my goodness, frown upon. I don't care. God,
No, I thought it was sweet because you know what? It's nothing like having your man's back or you having each other's back. And at
Or
that point,
understanding what's going on, the connection.
At
It's
that
the
point, I
understanding.
knew it was deeper. That was more of a personal thing between you two. That okay, yeah, he needs to lead, but I need to help him in this sense.
Capacity.
Yeah, it was just wonderful. It's just something that I picked up on. You know.
So going into this role, what are some of the things that, besides putting your marriage first, what are some of the things that a relationship should have if for people who are in this role or thinking of going into that role? Because like you said, it's demanding and not everyone understands the priority and the connection. But what are some of the things that just as a regular old couple before you were single, what are some of the things that you feel relationships absolutely need that may be lacking right now?
I know the list is long.
Right.
You need all of the standard things you need, but you need those on steroids.
Yeah.
Right. You need trust.
Oh.
Because invariably there are gonna be times when I have to go huddle off into a corner with someone else.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to know that
Right.
when your spouse is taking a meeting behind a closed door in a counseling session, that when they come out of that meeting, your marriage is still intact.
Right.
Yes.
Right? So trust, you need communication, right? Like sometimes there's something urgent that's happening with our family and you're in the middle of a meeting. You're at a transition service.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You're indisposed. The things that are happening with your family aren't less important, but you can't get to them right now.
Right.
Like to the point that I think Jason made earlier, like that means that immediate need is going to be sacrificed, right? And the need of someone in the ministry is going to be filled, but it's going to come at the cost of whatever it was your spouse or your family member needed. So you need to be able to communicate on the other side of that.
Right.
I'm going to get back to you as quick as I can. If I can't take the call, it's because I'm tied up and can't break loose from it. So you need good communication. You need trust. You need like all of those elements that are important in order for a relationship to be healthy in general. You need all of those same elements, but you need those on steroids.
Absolutely. All right. First Lady Sylvia, is there anything you want to add before we close out?
What he said.
Ditto. My man got the answer. There you go.
So do you think it doesn't matter? I'm going to close this. The last question. So do you think it matters if the roles are switched? Do you think it's more, just for the woman, maybe the senior minister, and the husband is there to support. Do you think that role is just as demanding or maybe more demanding?
I was the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would think if I was the pastor that I would know that he would be just as supportive.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I can't tell you about other people, but
Exactly.
Right.
And we only want one from you.
And that's right.
All right.
yeah. Nobody's trying to switch roles over here.
No. This is a series on. Yeah, this is just a series on ministers in ministry. So just.
I was just going to add. I think whatever dynamics you bring in your pre-ministry relationship, those same dynamics are going to be what exists in your ministry relationship.
Okay.
Right? So if there is, again, love and trust and communication and support, then whether the male or the female is the senior minister, those same elements are going to be in place because the demands of ministry are the same.
Same.
Right? So if you got it in your professional life, then you'll be able to transfer it into your ministry life.
But Tina, I know it's just a question, but you really don't have to switch the roles to feel that what we work through in the ministry, because we want to be together. So when he's feeling away or whatever, I have to let him know sometimes. Hey, let's step back because I see a little something. So it's when you're doing this, you see it all. It's connected with it.
But I would just think
you have to manage switch role because you in it.
Yeah, so I would, in my perspective, just kind of thinking like, as the first man, right? It's kind of a harder role, I would think, as a man, because traditionally what society thinks. So that's kind of how that question kind of came. So just thinking, ministry takes on a toll of itself. Mm-hmm. And then having a wife who's the senior minister and having to support her, and it's kind of a added burden, not a burden. It's kind of an added thing stressor that ministry usually doesn't see because of what we've seen in society roles as the male being that. So that's kind of where that question came from.
Mm-hmm. But I think but you do see it to some degree when the wife is the breadwinner, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well,
like if the husband has to, if he is the one who's primarily responsible for raising the children, getting them off to school, making sure they have lunch, getting them picked up, whatever. It's still a non-traditional role. Mm-hmm. And the degree to which you have success is going to be dependent not on outside factors, but on your ability to take hold of the role that you're in that moment. Whether it's the stay-at-home dad or the first man, is it? You know what I'm saying? Like it's still the same role.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what the time is. But I would,
I said, you thinking of questions over there.
No. When he said it's the first man, I'm thinking, it may be called the first man. I don't know.
We're going to go with that.
Yeah, we're going to go with that. So, but it's basically the foundation. So it's what your relationship is prior to and being comfortable in that role.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so tell us some of the things that's going on before we close out. Tell us some of the things that you guys have going on personally as well as professionally, something in the church, anything that you want to promote. Tell us where they can reach you, where they can find you, anything you want to. Right. So I know you guys have a book. Well, Reverend Wells has a book out.
Even before the book, personally, we've got the new love of our life, Mally Dream, our first grandchild.
My twin.
You can.
And I am her favorite person on the planet, so that's really special. But that's really right now one of the great blessings and treats that we have in our life. I'm also excited about coming back to talk to you in greater detail about Live Happy 365 daily practices to a happier life. Looking forward to linking up with you then. You can obviously find us at Christ Universal Temple on Facebook, Instagram, the CUT website, and you can find us at derrickbwells.com, where we've got some other opportunities to be of support to you as you move from where you are to where you are to be.
I mean, you skimmed over Derrick B. Wells, but you got a lot going on that website,
All
bro.
right.
So come on now.
All right.
But we'll talk about more when we get to the book and stuff.
All right.
But yeah, you're doing a lot of things. I like the fact that your course and teaching men and all this other stuff. It's just a wonderful thing that you got going, guys. I can say that we're truly blessed to have them as our senior leaders. We really appreciate you. We love you guys.
All right. So, all right. So as always, wait. Well, I'm saying, Reverend, what were you saying?
I was saying we love you right back. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for helping people in marriage. Like this institution, like some would even say the institution of marriage is under attack, right? And I don't have to tell you. I don't have to tell your listening audience. Like if you're gonna have a successful marriage, it won't be because you had it on cruise control. It will be
Absolutely.
and the time, energy, and effort. Everybody that's a stakeholder in that relationship, husband and wife, put in the time, energy, and effort in order for that relationship to be successful. A successful marriage does not happen by chance. It takes a great deal of intention. So thanks to you guys for making sure that we have the tools and the skills and the techniques in order to know how to be able to do that, because it does take not only a village to raise a child, it takes a village to raise a good marriage.
Amen.
That's right.
Amen.
All right. Thank you. Amen. So with that, we're going to close it out and say, as always, we're in it to win it.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Lovin' Beyond the I Do podcast. Head over to iTunes to subscribe and leave a review. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Legendary Relationship, or visit our website at legendaryrelationship.com. Till next time, remember to make every day count.